on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no.
Got broads in Atlanta, just at the lean in the credit cards in the scammers.
Acid rapper, soccer, hacky sacker, cocky, khaki, jacket, jacker.
Shalom, shalom. Welcome to Mark's Marvelous Music Minute Times 60. I'm your host, Marc-Yves Gabriel Regis II. Hope your day has been filled with a whole lot of gang shit. So earlier in the week, I interviewed Don Sawyer, who's a professor back at Quinnipiac. We talked about hip-hop culture, how it rose to prominence, and what could be its potential downfall. Enjoy some of the highlights.
But what impact has hip-hop had on American culture? Grandmaster Caz from the legendary Cold Crush Brothers once said that hip-hop didn't invent anything. Hip-hop reinvented everything. And so hip-hop reinvented American culture. All right. And so hip-hop, when I've traveled to South Africa, Jamaica, Brazil, Barbados, Dominican Republic, and a number of other places, and hip-hop is there, right? So not only has hip-hop transformed American culture, hip-hop has transformed the world. So when you look at commercials, when you look at fashion magazines, when you look at fashion shows, you see hip-hop's influence. When you think about the language that people are using to speak, the slang that comes out of hip-hop that people are using, when you watch SportsCenter and you hear them giving all of these descriptions of the sporting events using hip-hop nation language, like it's unbelievable. So that's there. And so my response to people who attack hip-hop, talking about it promotes violence and stuff like that, I agree with them. On a certain to a certain extent, right? Because hip hop does promote violence, it promotes Black death, it promotes misogyny, right? But so does a lot of other musical genres. Not saying that makes it okay. However, I would also tell them to listen to more hip hop, right? Because the hip hop that they're hearing is hip hop that's on the radio, hip hop that has been, used to bring down specific communities, right? And so one of the things I would say is that, like, you have to separate the corporatized hip-hop that's put out there for the consumption of the mass market and the essence of hip-hop culture, right? And so we understand that hip-hop was never pure. Hip-hop always dealt with sexism and drugs and different things of that nature, but it's been perverted to a point, I would say, in its current form. However, there are multiple artists who could counteract that point. And so for me, it's not even trying to counteract that point, it's getting people to listen more, right? So you have to do more digging. If you think hip-hop only exists on the radio, that's where your argument is flawed. And so you have to do more digging, right? Most of the people are going to be like, oh, well, what about Kendrick Lamar? What about Chance the Rapper? What about J. Cole, right? Those are three people. But there are a multitude of other artists who are doing more positive work who don't necessarily get a lot of shine in the mainstream. Chuck D once called rap Black America CNN. Some people will argue that that was the case back in the day, specifically in the golden era of hip-hop. When you think about it now, some people would argue that it's not the Black America CNN. I think it really comes down to what artists you listen to. When you're listening to a lot of the stuff, again, that gets played over and over on the radio, because you can probably hear the same song at least 3 times in 1 hour of radio play. And so that's problematic. And so that may not be Black America CNN that, Chuck D was talking about at his time, during that golden era. All right, does a rapper have to talk about social issues to have a positive impact on society? No, I don't think you have to talk about social issues to have a positive impact on society. Like, hip hop has never just been about speaking truth to power. Like, hip hop was about having fun and partying and all of that stuff as well. It was a form of resistance, but it was also about having fun. And so I think that outside of the music, you have to look at the actions of the artists and see what they're doing in their communities. What are they doing, around Thanksgiving? Are they giving out turkeys, or do they have scholarship funds? Or, like Snoop, some of his music, people might say, is not necessarily helping out socially, but the stuff that he does in his community, through football and different things like that, like, he's having an impact on society, even though his music, some people may argue, is not necessarily having the same positive impact that his community activism is. And as far as the Nielsen music rating, talking about how hip hop and R&B has taken over rock music as music's most popular genre, I'm surprised that it just happened in 2017. I just assumed that hip hop was one of our largest or the largest cultural exports, because everywhere again that I go, that I've traveled, no matter where it is, no matter, even if the people didn't even have access to the internet or full day access to electricity, they knew hip hop, right? And so hip hop, like I said earlier, has really taken the world by storm. And so when you say, what do you think caused this shift? Everybody's trying to get a piece of hip hop culture, right? Where you have, these pop stars who at one point distanced themselves from the culture, but they are now absorbing it and understanding that, if you use hip hop, that's a way to be cool. You have country artists who are using hip hop. Hip hop is appealing to the masses, right? So, once it was thought of as this passing fad that was only a culture for people of color, but everybody has gotten their hands within hip hop and taken a piece of it. And so I'm not shocked that it's taken over rock as the most popular musical genre.